I've personally got a pre-ride ritual of 3 things that I do every time before I ride, and I find it makes a big difference. This pre-ride ritual, I think, is really important just to get you into the right mindset, because you need to be in the right mindset to perform well on the bike. Riding well is all about feeling relaxed, feeling confident, feeling like you're going to smash it and like you're going to ride well. And the pre-ride ritual is a big part of doing that and being able to ride well. So here's 3 things that I do every time before I ride that make a real difference to my ride. Ritual 1 that I do before every single ride, except if it's in an evening, and I'll talk about that in a little more detail, is to have a coffee with a riding video. And I do this literally every time before I go for a ride. The only kind of disclaimer to this, and when I wouldn't do the coffee part, is if I'm riding in an evening, because you don't really want to be having caffeine after about 2 p.m. in the afternoon, because it stays in your bloodstream for a while and it can keep you awake at night. So before I ride, every time I'll have a good coffee and I'll sit and watch a riding video or 2, normally about 10 minutes worth, something like that. For me, I normally ride mid-afternoon, so it's my second coffee of the day. When I wake up, I have a coffee, and then before I ride in the afternoon or before I train, I'll have a coffee. I find that coffee is good for your performance, so it spikes your focus, it gives you energy, gives you motivation, it decreases how hard a ride actually feels, it lowers the RPE of it, it's called, the rate of perceived exertion, and it just helps you perform better. But as well as that, combining that with a riding video for me, I just find gets me excited to ride, it gets me in the mood, and you almost sort of like bleed off some. If you're watching a really good rider before you go out, it's fresh in your brain how you should be riding. You sort of pick up the little nuances about body position and confidence and finding flow and all of those things. So for me, every time before I ride, I have to have a coffee and watch a riding video to get me in the mood and to get me focused. Pre-ride ritual number 2, which has to be done before every single ride, is giving your bike a quick once over. Now if you want, you can do the full M check. I don't tend to do that because I'll already have washed my bike, I'll already have made sure it's okay and ready to ride. But the 2 things I do before I ride every single time is I will lube the chain up, and I will also pump the tyres up and make sure that they're both at the right pressure. So for me, at the minute, I run 23 psi front and 27 psi rear, and I just mentally have to have it at that pressure, otherwise it'll play on my mind while I'm riding. So for me to get in the right frame of mind to ride, I have to pump the tyres up and get them right. You don't always have to make sure you get it the perfect pressure if you're not as anal as I am with it. However, I would make sure that if you're leaving it 2 or 3 days, that you do pump your tyres up, because over time your tyres really slowly lose pressure if you're tubeless anyway. So I find with mine, over the course of a couple of weeks, they'll go from about 23 psi to about 15, 16 psi. So you want to just make sure that you're pumping them up every ride if you're not, just to make sure that you keep getting that right pressure. But before I ride, I lube the chain and I make sure that I get that tyre psi spot on, and then I know that it's ready to go and the bike is going to run well. Ritual number 3 is, and this is going to sound really boring, but I promise you the difference it makes is massive. And it's for the last 5 minutes when you're about to go out on your bike, don't rush, take your time and just do those final checks of the house. So just double check that you've turned the oven off, double check that you've got everything set up and everything's ready to go. Make sure that you've got your helmet. This was when we used to live in a flat where we used to live down some stairs, so you used to come out of the flat and you used to go outside, so you'd have to lock 2 doors and mess around. And I was rushing that much one day. I got everything on, I had my helmet on, my glasses, I'd started my Strava, shoes on, everything ready to go, locked all the doors. I got outside and I was like, right, let's get on the bike. Where's the bike? And I'd left the bike back in the house. That's how rushed I was to get out. Now, just slow down when you're about to go on a ride, and I promise you it will make a difference. The amount of rides I've rushed out and I've left my water bottle, or I forgot something, or I've brought the wrong gloves, or I'm thinking, did I lock the door? Did I lock the door? Did I leave the garage open? So if you just slow down a little bit, it will save you a lot of stress. Like I said right at the beginning of this video, a really important thing for your riding is your mental state and making sure you can focus, making sure you can concentrate, making sure you can relax on the bike. And a big part of that is making sure that you set the house up properly and it was all ready to go. So when you're about to ride, part of my pre-ride ritual is to just chill out a little bit, to not rush, and to just make sure you lock everything up and get everything ready to go. However mundane these 3 pre-ride rituals might seem, I promise you they make a real difference to your enjoyment on the bike and the mental state that you go out in. So you don't have to copy my exact pre-ride rituals, you can make your own up, but I promise you having that routine and that ritual that you do before you head out on a ride will really make a big difference. I'd love to know what's something that you do before you head out for a ride. Leave it in the comments and let me know. I read every single comment, so I'll be really interested to hear what you do. And if you are enjoying these MTB fitness videos, please make sure you subscribe so you can see every future one. Thank you so much, and to watch another MTB fitness video, just click the buttons on the next screen and you can do that. Thanks.